Hi everyone, this short little demo will show you how to set up your file and manage your files for Project One. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go right to the student shared folder. You should have that hopefully on your bookmark bar there. Go into your own folder, go into your Project One folder, and if you notice, I've made my photo images folder and I have all of my images contained in here. There's more than 30. I would suggest that you try to limit it and use your checklist here to kind of make sure you have all of the required criteria for your book. So once you kind of compile these, you can check them off. You can also use the checklist as you're building your book. It's kind of handy. Make sure that you have tagged them all, labeled them, so when I grade them, I can also make sure and use the checklist and you will get credit for everything that you've done. You can also obviously look at this in grid form if that's what you want to do too. What you want to do is be in your Project One folder here when you make your Google slide book. So over here, let me just move myself. You're going to use the project sheet to kind of help be your guide. So if we go down to the Google slide criteria, you'll look that you want to create the book 14 by 5¼ inches. We're going to need 30 images and 16 slides. This will mimic your book, right? The first slide will have one image and it will be your cover of your book. The last slide will be the back cover of your book. And all other slides will contain 2 images side by side to mimic a book spread that would be kind of like this. You'll need to choose an image for the first and the last slide. They'll be viewed singularly, and you'll photograph a quote for your book. And the first image, the cover, and the last image, the back cover, and the quote should try to tell a story unto themselves. And then as you lay out your book, try to explore the relationships between the 2-page spreads. And as you place them, how do they tell a story by their relationships and how we read images? We'll talk about this in critique. Here's all of your categories that you need to kind of be aware of. The last thing about the project sheet I'll just point out is the rubric is already here for you if you want to read through this, just to be sure that you're checking off everything that you're supposed to be doing. So make sure you're in your own Project One folder, and then you're going to go File, Google Slides, and a blank presentation, and we'll create this, and I'll actually make it a little bit bigger, and again, move myself over here. So you can choose between black or white. I do not want you to choose any other template, just black or white. I'm going to use white, and I'm going to get rid of the type. We don't need the type at all. And here's my first slide. But before I go and jump into creating this book, remember, you have to make it a certain size, right? Go back to your project sheet if you forget. So you can do that in Google Slides. Everything can be custom, which is quite amazing. So you want to go to Page Setup. It's way down here. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. So you can see it right there. So again, File, Page Setup, choose Page Setup. This is the default widescreen. So if you click on that, you're going to choose Custom, and we're going to use 14 by 5¼ Now this is based on 2 horizontals butt up. If you wanted to shoot everything vertical, then I'll allow you to adjust it so you'll have a vertical book. But you need to talk to me about it so we can talk about the measurements and making sure you're doing it correctly, because I would not want you to get graded down if you don't do the measurements correctly. So this is based on horizontal design. So we'll hit apply. It gives you one long kind of book thing. So again, as I said, the first slide will be your cover design. So you'll go to Insert Image, Drive. That comes up over here. Let me move myself again. And it doesn't take, you probably won't go straight to your photo drive. So it will go to you can hit drive. It will go to find your way, go to your courses. Maybe you have it organized. I'm super organized. So go to your shared folder for our class. And again, my folder, you'll go to yours and you'll go to the Project One folder and find your photo images folder. And here they all are. Now, again, you can look at them in grid format if that's easier. I already have a thought on what I want to use for my cover design. And again, I want you to make things large. And there we go. So that's filling top to bottom, filling the frame. Now, if I let go of it, it will look like it doesn't have any edges. I don't really know exactly where the edge is. You could choose to put a border on it, and then we know. So now we're going to make 16. Let's go back to the project sheet. How many pages? 16 slides, right? So you're going to choose one, copy, paste it. I'm doing Command C, Command V. I'm on page 2. I'll get rid of this guy. And then I'll copy, paste, 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 all the way until I get 16. There we go. And then obviously now I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to start to build my book of two images at side by side. So I'm going to go back to my drive and these start to come up. So this is where it's really helpful to have the checklist here, right? So I might say, okay, I'm going to choose this one, which is emphasis point. And I'm going to start to look, what do I want to pair the emphasis point with? This is where you start to make some design decisions, right? Maybe you might choose something that is similar in shape and form or color, or something that is diverse. So your unity versus variety. And when I want to choose something more than once, I have one selected. I'm going to hit the Command key and choose another and hit insert, and I get both of them. Now, I don't want you to have white borders or any kind of white space. So again, I want you to butt them up to the edges. I'm going to actually make myself smaller or down here, and then I'm going to go view, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit and work at 50%. It's a lot easier. So when I want to choose more than one, I'm going to choose the Shift key, and then I'm going to go ahead and make them bigger. I also need to crop because some of them are hanging off the bottom. So if you select it and you hit the cropping tool, you can certainly go right up and crop it. And then you can move the image inside. Again, I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to crop it. And if you make the mistake of moving it, just undo it. If you make the mistake of distorting the piece, undo it. We don't want to distort anything. So again, I want to adjust that. And now I have a 2-page spread. Go on to the next one. Let's choose something else. Let's see. I'm going to choose this piece, which is rhythm. And maybe this I'm going to lead, and I'm going to choose that one. Again, I'm holding the Command key down. Insert. One's a vertical and one's a horizontal this time. So again, I'm going to butt up to the edge. I'm going to butt up here to the edge and also the other piece. I'm going to select both of them. I'm going to make them bigger so they butt up to the bottom, but this one has lots of space. We don't want that. So again, you're going to make it bigger right to the edge, and then you're going to use the cropping tool, and we'll crop right there. And then you can adjust this piece. I might actually make it touch the top to create some tension and kind of a nice intersection point. And then there we go there. So you will continue. Again, the last slide has to be your back cover. I think I have already thought of something for my back cover. I'm going to go get it. Where is it? Let's see if I can find it here. And come on, where are we? Because the quote, the back cover, and the front cover need to relate. And if you notice, this is a vertical. So again, I'm going to make it. Now, how do I know what size to make it? You want to kind of mimic a square, right? So you want to make sure it's centered. And maybe bring it down and then use your cropping tool. So when you make the shape, try to understand if you're making more of a square. This looks a little bit more like a There we go. That's more of a square. There we go. And then you can actually get it centered. That's not really centered. Let's actually go like that. Nope, I distorted it. There we go. And then we'll just kind of move that over. So put that in the center. And then obviously I need one more. Let's say, again, I might want to use slide 9, and I'm going to go get my quote. And I'm going to get my quote. And let's see, where's my quote? Okay. Here we go. And I might want to juxtapose this with, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to put them in and then you have to see what happens. I'll show you a little bit of that in a second. Again, I'm going to butt up the horizontal one first, and then this one, select them, make them as big as the bottom, and then this one has to get bigger. And then I'm going to bring it down a little bit, hit the cropping tool, bring it down, bring it up, and then adjust. Okay, so you're gonna have a bunch of them. You're gonna build your book, and then we'll talk about design decisions as I show you the book that I created. Okay, so now the book is created. You kind of have a sense of what you want to, you have it laid out. The other thing you can do at this point is, recheck with the checklist, right? So here I know I have an inner quality. I want to make sure I check that and go through. This is shape. This to me was balance. It's asymmetrical balance. Check, right? So again, try to do that for yourself. I've made this interactive, so you should be able to handle that. And again, kind of go through. This would be rhythm, kind of a flowing rhythm. And this is my shape again. And some things like this. This is line, right? So I'm going to check that. This is a past experience. I'm going to check that. You guys get the sense of it. Okay, so other things that you should be thinking about. Again, this is the first page in the book, right? And you want to look for your quote for the book and your last page for the book. And these three, the quote and the first, should have its own little story that you're telling. And then the relationships between the two need to also tell a story, and the flow of the book needs to tell a story. So as I said, this is a shape and balance. This is asymmetrical balance, but I also put these together for the roundness of the shapes. This flow of rhythm kind of brings your eye up into here, and this nice diagonal line also kind of brings my eye down here. So there's a movement across the page that's lovely. This one here is a flowing rhythm, and this nice diagonal line kind of connects to these diagonal lines. These are interesting kind of soft flowing shapes to a harder edged, more in-your-face shape. This is a contemporary experience. I take walks every day, and this is facing this really hot color, so there's a lot of diversity. You have lots of gray versus lots of color. You can explore diversity. You can explore similarity, things like that. This is an emphasis point with lots of texture. So these I put together because of the diversity, but also the similarity of the color. You also can explore how things flow, right? I had this down here. I'm not sure I like this far enough down the book, farther down the book. I say I might want to move this. Where do I want to move it? Well, let's try this up here a little bit. Maybe I want to put it right there, right? So when we share this and look at it, we're going to go through the book. Do you have too many hot colors? Do you have too many beiges? Do you have too many shapes that are too similar? You might want to change that up, right? So this is line, past experience, nice vertical line here. And then here's some more. Maybe I don't want too many vertical lines in a row. Maybe I want to move this up there just to make a little bit better of a flow, because your eye can get bored if too many things are similar in a row, right? just to explain this one, I love this diagonal line that points back to here, and here's another diagonal line. So you have kind of like this triangular. So these are the things that you should be thinking of when you create your book. Here's pattern and flowing rhythm, right? And then also this tiny little shape here mimics this shape, which mimics this shape. So lots of similarity, but the smoothness of this is very different than the roughness of this. So these are the things I want you to think about. So I did put a border on this. I don't really want the border anymore. So how you take it off is you just go to color for the border color and just say transparent. You don't want it there anymore. So spend some time with your book and explore, again, your checklist. Make sure you have everything in there. Make sure it's the right size. And if you made it the wrong size, you certainly can go to File, Page Setup and change it all again. But you would have to make sure everything, again, butts up. There's no white space before you save it as a PDF. Give it a name, because you'll want to save the Google slide presentation in your folder. You're not going to throw that away. This is like your working layout document. So don't delete that. Don't not save it, because after critique, if you want to make some adjustments, you can before we turn it in finally next class period. All right, so now you're done. You think you're all set. You have to save it out as a PDF. So you go to File, Download, PDF Document, and off it goes. You will upload your PDF document the night before for the critique session that we're going to have during class time. I am going to grade, if you go to the project sheet, I am going to make sure that your PDF is in the folder. I also would suggest you just keep your Google slide presentation in your Project 1 folder, just in case. Again, don't delete it. And then all of your images need to be in there. And we will complete the crit sheet in class, right? All right, that's it. Good luck.